Hey, howdy, hello. This is Amy again with another bullet journaling video. This time I'm gonna not necessarily page through my journal because I'm up to I think 86 pages now, as it is, June, the middle of the year. So what I'm gonna do is show you some of the pages that I think are important in my journal, and then show you the weekly and monthly layouts that I've got going on right now. So first things first, this is my original journal. I started it in November of 2017, and this was before I knew that I wanted to do journaling, bullet journaling. So, it's very simple. I used a lot of colored pens. Like I was saying in my last video, I just used pens and not really any markers because markers, I used marker on this, but as you can see, it's bleeding through. So I mostly stuck to pens and this simple composition book, which I bought at Staples. It's just a graph paper composition book. And then when I decided that I wanted to continue journaling, I bought this one. This is a computation book, which is similar to the composition book in that it has graph paper pages, but it's made for mathematical equations and stuff. So it's got, let me see if I can flip to an empty page. It's got these extra lines on the outside, like the margins, and it's got this extra header area up here. And it also comes pre-numbered, the pages do. So I don't have to do any of the numbering or anything myself, which is, really cool. So also the pages in this aren't white. They're kind of this tannish, I wouldn't call it off-white. It's a little darker than off-white, which can mess with your colors if you end up buying markers to use, but I don't mind. I just don't use the lighter colors. So the other thing about the computation book, as you can see, is that it's a bit bigger than the composition book, which becomes important later when I show you what my weekly layouts look like now. So let's get into it. By the way, most of the page layouts that I have in here that are more fancy, I found on Pinterest. So I'll try to maybe up here in the corner of the video or somewhere where it fits, I'll put pictures of what it looked like on Pinterest when I found it. Maybe I'll put links in the description box of the pages, or you can just ask if you're interested. But most of my favorite layouts I did find on Pinterest. So first things first, well, this isn't important, but this is just my opening page, 2018. I started this in January. So I do recommend, whether or not your pages come pre-numbered, I do recommend a table of contents, just because it's easier to find stuff. And you'll see I have the edges marked for really important pages, but a lot of the time, if I want to go back and look at my March monthly, I'm not gonna know really how to find it. So it's in my table of contents. Aside from marking the pages like I did on here, I also have some pages, let me see if I can focus in on it. You'll see some pages have colored tape on the edges. These are my monthly layouts. So these are the, for example, this most recent one is June. But so this is how I mark my monthlies, so that when I'm working in my weeklies and I need to go back to the month, I can find it. So one of the cuter pages I have in here, and actually one of my favorite pages, is this one, and I can't show you the page next to it, but this is my books to read, or books that I want to read in 2018 page. And basically you just draw a bookshelf and then draw a bunch of books on it. I added some doodles, once again found on Pinterest. But you know, you draw books on it and then write in the titles of the books that you want to read, books that you have sitting in your queue, books that you have sitting on your shelf. And as you read, you can color them in, and those are the ones that are done, and then you have other ones to choose from. So this is another one of my favorite pages, and this is one that I think is really important if you're doing a yearly journal. They called it a future log on Pinterest, but I also use it for people's birthdays, for anniversaries, for holidays, and it's just generally a good reference to have, like, if you need to know what day something is on in August, like August 9th is a Thursday. So I think that's an important page to have. This is a more fun page. This is my sort of resolutions goals page. I don't like to call them resolutions because I feel like resolutions are really like restrictive and, you know, hard to follow. This is more goals, like things that you can set out a plan for, you know, like read more. I can sit down, take that goal, and write out steps that I need to take in order to read more. Learn Spanish. I'm actually learning Spanish through an app called Duolingo, which is free, which is really cool, not sponsored, but I recommend it if you want to learn a foreign language. So my goal for that would then be practice on Duolingo at least, I don't know, 15 minutes a day or 2 hours a week. And then, you know, just set out those mini goals, and that works up to these big year-long goals. Period tracker. If you are a period haver, I recommend having a period tracker. You don't have to do the year in one like this. You can do it in your monthly tracking pages, but I have the yearly one. This is another page that I made that I think is important, and I took this from my goals idea page. This is a self-care ideas page, so like things I can do, and I define self-care as things I can do that will make me smile or will make me feel better when I'm feeling anxious or when I'm feeling depressed. So, you know, just actions, like concrete actions, really simple concrete things that I can do that will make me feel better. Final important page before I go through my weekly layouts is this one, and this is my 1 through 10s. And this is more important, I think, if you have like a mental illness or a chronic illness and you need to track your symptoms. Because I was tracking them, like I track my nausea, my depression, and my anxiety daily. And I was tracking them as high, medium, low, and that's not really helpful because, like, what does high mean? You know, it means different things on different days. So I went through and made a list of 1 through 10 of like symptoms of my gastroparesis, depression symptoms, and anxiety symptoms. And I just, like, these are also specific to me. Like maybe your anxiety is different, maybe your depression presents differently, but this is a page that I think is really important to have if you have one of those chronic mental or physical illnesses and you need to track it, just so you have it laid out and you know. So now we're going to talk about my monthly and weekly layouts and how I've been doing it. And I'll show you an example of a previous one so that you kind of get what I'm talking about when we get to the weekly layouts. But this is the monthly layout that I've been really liking. And I didn't really mean to settle on one, but I've been using this one since April. And I really like it just because it's clean. It's got the month laid out. It's got the dates listed out so you can do your appointments and everything on this side. I also add in birthdays so that I don't forget them on the very edge. Like I said, I put a strip on the side so that I can turn to it quickly. This is all washi tape, by the way, so these stickers are from that sticker book that I showed you in my last video. So are these. Some things that I like about this layout, for example, is this right here. Let me zoom in on it. Is in the original layout, it said goals. I didn't really have a goals sticker this month, so I just used a remember one. But you set goals, like things that need to be done by the end of the month, and then you work your way through them. And these are like more general goals. This isn't like go see your doctor. Well, I mean, I have go see your doctor on here, but it's not like I have a doctor's appointment on the 4th. You would put those in this monthly section. That's the goal section, that's the monthly section, and this is customizable. Like the original layout colors I think were black and white, and when I did it in April I did it in black and white, but since then I've just been customizing it to the colors of the month. I couldn't really figure out, I think June's birthstone is like diamond or something, so I just decided to do colors that I like. Down here, if we can zoom in, this is a further like not goals, but further stuff that needs to get done. So you'll see I have number scales for depression and stuff. I just did that this weekend, so that's finished. I can cross that off my list. And then you'll have a notes section over here, which is just general notes for the month. And then over here, I put important dates. So you'll notice that not everything that's here, not everything that's on this side is over here. This month is a bad example because a lot of my dates that are over in my monthly are also over here because they're very important dates. I'll show you, because in April when I first did this layout, I did it the original way. This little section right here where I've got a sticker and a inspirational saying in the April layout is actually, in the original layout on Pinterest too, is actually where you can list, you'll see I didn't do it, what you're currently reading, what you're watching, you know, what you're loving, which can be good for your mental health, but I didn't find it useful, I didn't find it necessary, so I took it out in months afterwards and just put a nice little decoration there. You can put a doodle there, you can do whatever you want there. And that's what I like about this layout, is that it's really customizable. You can do it for any month, and it's really clean, it's really precise. You have everything laid out all in one place. And then I have I generally will put my moods on this side and my symptoms and habits on this side. I really like this symptom tracker because I think it's really pretty. When you fill it in, it kind of looks like a rainbow. But these are all my gastroparesis and anxiety, depression, whatever symptoms. You can customize this to whatever you want. I will make a short tutorial probably about how to do this because it took me a while to figure it out. These mood pages change every month. So like this month it's a pineapple. I think in May it was flowers. Yes, it was flowers, and the flower petals were the dates. And then in April I had an umbrella with raindrops, and the raindrops were the dates. I like this better than putting, like some people will have moods over here with their habits and stuff. I like this better because you're not necessarily going to feel the same mood throughout the entirety of the day, you know? Like there are some days where your overall general mood will be the same thing, but like I also have these days like the 4th, the 7th, the 11th, where I was feeling more than one thing. I don't know, I just think they're creative, I think they're cute. I have a lot of Pinterest tutorials for them, so I'll probably use a lot of different ones. All right, so this is my weekly, and this is where I need to explain a little bit. This is one of my favorite layouts that I've found on Pinterest, and it's originally structured on the tutorials so that it takes up 2 pages. This is what it looks like when it takes up 2 pages. And you'll notice that except for this day, I didn't really use all this space, except for my tracker, which takes up the same amount of space on the other one. But like all of these days are empty. So why would it take up 2 pages in 1 week if I'm not using all that space? So I turned my journal landscape and measured it out so that the same layout fit on 1 page, so that I can do 2 weeks, take up less space, maybe just jot down a few notes about what I'm doing. Like if you are taking up that much space, like if you're using your journal for other things, then by all means do it, but I wasn't. I'm mostly using it to track my symptoms and track my meals, track my anxiety, so I don't need all that space. In my next video, when I show you how like when I time lapse and show you how to do all of this stuff, like I'll explain my thought process as I'm going through this process to turn a 2-page layout into a 1-page layout. I'll explain it in more detail if it doesn't make sense in this video. Yes, this is a better example of that. This one, as you can see, there's a line here. This is where the page break is supposed to be. So this is supposed to be 1 page and this is supposed to be 1 page. The last thing I can recommend is finding like a paper clip or something, maybe a alligator clip, and just stick some pretty washi tape to it and mark your current week or your current day even. Some people do dailies. Like I said, I don't need that much space, so just because then when your journal is closed and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to journal really quick, you can find your paper clip and just turn to that day. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Any questions about this, any questions about why I track the things I track, any advice you may need about your own mental health needs. I really think bullet journaling is a great tool for mental and chronic illnesses, invisible illnesses, stuff like that. I think it's a great tool to have, just to know what you've eaten, know how you felt yesterday, know what you did yesterday. That's my journal walkthrough, page through, tips and tricks. Decorate your outside with washi tape if you have too much like I do. Other than that, thanks for watching. I hope this was enjoyable to some people. I hope it was educational. And look forward to my next video where I do actual journaling and tutorials and show you guys stuff. So, bye!